I am currently in the middle of recording and I'm having a very annoying issue. The GoPro is constantly overheating and shutting off, and I am potentially losing footage if it wasn't for the fact that I have my GoPro on live monitoring on my monitor screen, so I can tell whenever the GoPro stops recording and shuts down. But since GoPro is not getting its shit together and settling this overheating issue, I am gonna decommission my GoPro and just buy myself another Osmo Action, because Osmo Action had never given me any overheating problem at all. The issue with the Osmo Action is that after a while of recording, because it breaks out the footage into clips of 4GB size, so every single time there is a break in the footage, especially when I'm doing this kind of recording whereby it's long duration, so I actually just leave the camera recording and I don't stop the recording itself. So occasionally what happens is on the Osmo Action, when I'm editing, there will be a desync with the visual and audio up to about 12 frames, which is half a second, which is actually a lot. But I would rather spend half an hour to 1 hour and resyncing all my audio visual than to have potentially losing my footage. And it's pissing me off. Hi everyone, my name is Angie and this is me and my natural habitat. I'm not sure if any of you have came across this before, but I always see this advertisement from this brand called UGears on like Instagram, Facebook, and it will always pop up for me. Not sure if it's because like I constantly search for DIY stuff, but I caved and I decided to check them out because like typically this kind of stuff is most of the time only available in the US. So like if I want to ship it to an Asian country like Singapore, the shipping is like the product itself. So I went in to have the mindset of, okay, I'm just gonna see how much shipping is. If it makes sense, then maybe I'm gonna get it. But I ended up finding that they actually have a local store, which is .sg store. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get it. So during their sale, they had like a very small sale sometimes last year. I got myself 2 of them. Just gonna do one today. But I've been so excited to actually do this. Like ever since then, I've been like waiting, okay, I'm gonna sit myself down and I'm gonna do this. Okay, so this is what it is. They have a lot of different designs, and some of them have more like functionality to it. Like they have a chest that you can lock. They have a safe also, which is like those puzzle safes, which I'm also actually very tempted to get. But this one is actually for your accessories, I assume. Like it looks like I can put rings and like bracelets, that kind of thing. But like things like this one, for example, what you see is the light. But like this one, I think you can actually like open it up and it has like a password and everything. So like it's really cool, and doesn't seem like it contains any form of like power. So everything is mechanical and is made out of wood. So like I'm very excited to try this, and let's get into it. So as with most of this kind of DIY stuff, it actually has a sandpaper. So it comes with like whichever parts that you need all on, or they try and put it on like as little pieces of wood as possible. This one comes with toothpicks, I don't know why. Yeah, and they will have a instruction manual, which is here. It comes with, how many languages is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 languages. Which is great because like you rarely see this kind of stuff. And if you do, it's usually what? English, either or Chinese, like Mandarin Chinese, because most of these stuff are made in China anyway. But this is a very new thing. I need wax though. Let me find wax. GoPro overheated and died, and it refused to start up for a period of time. So now what's happening is I have this resting on top of the GoPro. It's an ice pack. Things you have to deal with when your equipment don't function the way they're supposed to. Anyways. We're done! Okay, so as you probably saw from the footage, something broke. More than one thing broke. And honestly, I've never been angry. I've never gotten angry while recording something before, and today is a first. Because, first of all, the GoPro kept dying, which meant I constantly have to stop what I'm doing and try and cool the GoPro down and then get it to record again. So that's one. And then how this broke was because I currently have an ice pack resting on top of the GoPro in an attempt to keep the GoPro cool so it stopped overheating and dying on me. And while trying to revive the GoPro, turning it back on, the ice pack fell and basically landed right on top of what I was working on. So that's probably a very bad setup. It is a very bad setup, but you know, if it wasn't that the GoPro constantly overheating, I wouldn't even have to set that up at the first place. But anyway, so I think because of that, this part was weak, so it broke as well. The funny thing is, the way they made this, the way this was manufactured, I think it's just like pieces of plywood compressed together. So I can see 3 layers of wood, and when it break, it basically broke in like a zigzag fashion, so I can kind of push it back and it will still be able to hold itself in place. But I have some heavy duty super glue in the office, so I'm gonna bring that home and try and glue back everything. The other part was the mechanism of this is actually really cool, like how this thing opens and closes, and it's quite smooth actually. The only annoyance I have is my GoPro just died again. The only annoyance I have is how difficult it was to remove the individual pieces from this piece itself. So like a lot of the times I felt like I was just gonna break everything. And then this is the part where you have an option of having a ballerina in the center, or this, which I think I will go for. So this part just fit like right in the middle. There. So like my GoPro died, so I can't get you any of the bigger footage. So because of the broken piece, now you can see. So what it does is whenever I'm closing and opening, the center actually rotates as well, which is really cool since like everything is just everything's working off gears. So that makes it like really interesting. The only annoyance, or rather the biggest annoyance I have, is how difficult it was to fit everything in place. Like for this particular one, the leaf of the flower or whatever this is called, it was so hard to fit in like the smaller pieces. Like this one didn't have any problem. This I had a little bit of problem, but I figured it out. This was fine. The center one was fine. This one keeps dropping because this part is already broken. This was fine. This I had a little bit of issue. This one and the bottom one is the one I have the most issues with, and because like it's so thin, like I just constantly feels like I'm gonna break it. And like things are already broken, right? So I'm just gonna break more things and more things now. So yeah, this is like my biggest annoyance with it. The instruction manual is really detailed. Like I didn't have any issues following along while trying to make this. Like they didn't actually use, like most of this stuff actually comes with like numbers. So it has numbers like written to tell you which part is like in what sequence, but the instruction manual didn't actually note down the numbers, but it was still really easy to follow because there is like pictorial guide, so they actually give you pictures like step by step what you are supposed to do. So that was really helpful. So the actual assembly wasn't that big of a problem. The biggest issue was how easy everything felt like it was gonna break. I mean, it's still like quite a solid piece of wood, but I just constantly feels like I'm gonna break something because it was so hard to remove stuff and so hard to put things together. I think that is why they kept telling me that to use wax to make things easier, but it only helps that much. So this is it for today. I am so annoyed at the GoPro now. I'll be bringing back the heavy duty glue and fixing this empty section here. Yep, but this is really cool actually. I'm quite excited for the next one because I bought two, so there's another design coming. Yeah. So thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Bye. Bye. Bye.